Ever since Jake gifted me Scooby on our 5th anniversary, he had been more than just a pet. He was my shadow, my comfort, my protector. A golden retriever with deep brown eyes and an uncanny ability to sense my emotions, Scooby had filled the void whenever Jake was away. And in our marriage, that was often. Jake worked as a traveling consultant, which meant long weeks apart, just me and Scooby in our quiet suburban home. At first, I thought I was imagining it. The first time it happened, I had just kissed Jake goodbye at the front door, watching his car disappear down the driveway. I turned around to find Scooby staring at me, his ears perked, his tail motionless. There was something expectant in his gaze, something almost knowing. Then, without hesitation, he bolted up the stairs, ran into our bedroom, and began frantically digging at Jake's pillows. Not in a playful way, but with purpose, as if searching for something hidden beneath the sheets. I laughed at the sight, shaking my head as I pulled the pillows away to show him there was nothing there. He whimpered softly, gave me a long, unreadable look, then curled up on Jake's side of the bed and refused to move. I chalked it up to him missing Jake, a simple reaction to the absence of his other favorite human. But then it happened again. And again. Every time Jake left for a trip, Scooby would rush to our bedroom and start his frantic digging. I started to wonder, was he searching for Jake's scent? Was this some odd comfort mechanism? It was both endearing and a little eerie. I dismissed it as one of those quirks that make dogs so special, a little habit of his that I found amusing. But then one night, everything changed. Jake had left that morning for a 5-day trip to Chicago, and as expected, Scooby went through his usual routine. I had taken a long bath, read a few chapters of my book, and had just settled into bed when I noticed him lying awake beside me, his ears twitching. His eyes darted toward the hallway, his body stiff. I frowned. "What is it, boy?" He didn't move, didn't look at me, just kept staring at the darkened hallway. Then, ever so slowly, he lifted his head, sniffed the air, and let out the lowest, deepest growl I had ever heard from him. My stomach tightened. I held my breath, listening. The house was silent, save for the occasional creaks of the old wooden floors. I tried to tell myself it was nothing, that Scooby was just on edge because Jake had left. But then I heard it. A soft, almost imperceptible noise. Footsteps. My heart pounded. I knew the sound of the house settling, the usual creaks and groans that came with an aging structure. This was different. It was deliberate. Scooby leapt off the bed, muscles tense, ears pinned forward. He let out another growl, deeper this time, more threatening. I grabbed my phone from the nightstand, my hands trembling. "Who's there?" I called out, trying to sound braver than I felt. No answer. But then another step. Closer. I dialed 911, my breath coming in short gasps as I whispered my address to the dispatcher. "There's someone in my house." Scooby didn't wait. He bolted down the hallway, barking furiously. The sound of his claws scraping against the hardwood floor sent chills down my spine. I followed cautiously, gripping the phone like a lifeline. A loud crash echoed through the house, followed by a frantic scuffle. By the time I reached the living room, the front door was wide open, swinging on its hinges. Scooby stood at the threshold, teeth bared, growling at the darkness beyond. The police arrived minutes later, but whoever had been inside was long gone. The lock had been broken, a few drawers were open, but nothing was stolen. It was as if they had been searching for something specific. The officer looked at me, then at Scooby. "Your dogs saved you," he said, kneeling to scratch behind Scooby's ears. He probably scared them off before they could do anything. I wrapped my arms around Scooby, my heart still hammering in my chest. "Good boy," I whispered. "My brave boy." That night, I didn't sleep. I kept the lights on, one hand resting on Scooby's back as he lay beside me, still alert. He didn't sleep either. The next morning, I called Jake and told him everything. He caught the earliest flight home, rushing through the door and pulling me into a tight embrace. He knelt down beside Scooby, ruffling his fur. "You took care of her," he said softly. "Thank you." From that day on, I paid more attention to Scooby's instincts. Whenever he stared at the hallway, I listened. Whenever he growled at the door, I checked twice. And every time Jake left for a trip, I made sure to lock up tight and keep a watchful eye. Scooby still ran to the bedroom whenever Jake left. He still dug at the pillows, still searched for something unseen. But now I no longer brushed it off as a silly habit. Because on that terrifying night, he had sensed something before I did. He had known. And I would never ignore him again.